Do you fear criticism? Do you fear criticism? Hi, my name is Ann McNeil, and I am the Master Wealth Builder, helping you to build a wealthier business and life in every area of your life. And my question for you today is, do you fear criticism? Ann's Wonderful Words of Wisdom and the McNeil Factor Insights. Today, we're focusing on, yes, you can guess, the principles and the philosophy espoused by Napoleon Hill, as we learn to use these principles to help us to achieve our desires, our goals, our aspirations. As we walk through each of the principles, ask yourself the question, do you fear criticism? Criticism for what? Criticism from others as you aspire to achieve your first principle, which is your desire. You know, that house you desire, that car. Oh, maybe it's a child's education. Maybe it's your education. Whatever it is that you desire, when you're faced with criticism from others, do you really persist until you succeed, pressing through those naysayers? Sometimes the criticism may come from within. Yes, within ourselves, if in fact we're not working on our self-talk and understanding how do you actually build your self-confidence. Well, today's conversation is about the 16 symptoms of the lack of persistence. And we're on the final one, number 16, which is the fear of criticism. Napoleon Hill says that the fear of criticism is the failure to create plans and to put them into action because of what other people will think, do, or say. This enemy belongs to the head of the list. And I'd like to also suggest sometimes we can be our own, yes, worst enemy when it comes to self-talk and how we may criticize ourselves and talk ourselves out of that desire. But this enemy, like he says, belongs to the head of the list because it generally exists in your subconscious mind, where its presence is not recognized. If you were to examine some of the examples and the symptoms of the fear of criticism, the majority of people permit their relatives, family, and the public at large to influence them. Yes, family, friends, co-workers, even our self-talk influence us and puts us in a place of fear, self-criticism. Yes, millions of people neglect to acquire belated education after having left school because they fear the criticism. Countless numbers of men and women, both young and old, permit relatives to wreck their lives because of, yes, the name of duty, because they fear criticism. Duty does not require any person to submit to the destruction of his personal ambition and the right to live his or her own life, your own way. People refuse to take chances in business because they fear the criticism which may follow if they fail. The fear of criticism in such cases is stronger than the desire for success. The fear of criticism is stronger than your desire for success, and oftentimes for your desire for that which you desire to achieve. When Andrew Carnegie suggested, and these are Napoleon Hill's words, Andrew Carnegie suggested that I devote 20 years to the organization of a philosophy of individual achievement, my first impulse of thought was fear of what people might say. The suggestion set up a goal for me far out of proportion to any I had ever conceived. As quick as a flash, my mind began to create alibis and excuses, all of them traceable to the inherent fear of criticism. And I want to stop there and share. I remember watching a program on TV where this guy in his 80s, as a grandfather, decided to go back to school because as a sharecropper, being born in the family of slaves, he never was able to get the education he desired, raise his family, and began to raise his grandchildren, and decided to start, yes, in elementary school with the little kids to learn the basics. Well, he went on, and of course, the fear of criticism gripped him all along the way. But not only did he finish high school, but he went on to become a great author, sharing his story. There are people who have dyslexia, and there's so many other educational challenges in their lives. And the fear of the criticism that they will receive and are receiving, we can never begin to imagine. But each of us, and I'm sharing with you, what are you facing that is fear based upon what other people are saying or doing as relates to you achieving your goal? These words of wisdom and this encouragement is really to encourage you to focus on your faith, which can overcome the fear of criticism. What is it that they can do? You can push through. It's easier said than done, but align and assign yourself with accountability partners and some kind of support group to help you get through. The education or the money or the business or the home or the car, whatever it is your desire is yours. But is it a burning desire to overcome the negative criticism, which inhibits you from persisting toward your goal? So we're going to just continue to encourage and ask you to just think about that which you can do. If it's just one thing, just one little thing. Criticism, something inside. Wow. Napoleon Hill says his own self-talk began to create the alibis and excuses, all of them traceable to the inherent fear of criticism. Something inside of me said, you can do it. The job is, you can't do it. You can't do it. The job is too big and requires too much time. What will your relatives think of you? How will you earn a living? No one was ever organized a philosophy of success. What right do you have to believe that you can do it? Who are you anyway? Does that sound familiar? Have you ever heard those words? I have. When I decided to go into the construction industry and become a contractor in my early 20s. Yes, my friends laughed. Yes, my family laughed, especially because I was in a corporate job and working on a master's degree at the same time. It made no sense because back in the day, ladies didn't do that. Women didn't do that. Girls did not go into construction. But because of this philosophy of success, I read Napoleon Hill's book, and I knew that what I was doing for a living would not yield me the time and the money that I desired to be home with my children and help raise them the way I chose, and also to start my own business. And so I kept my eyes focused on the prize, which was my burning desire to make a certain amount of money as an entrepreneur. The rest is my story. But what about your story? What is it that you are desiring to do that the fear of criticism is not allowing you to persist? We're talking about the philosophy of persistence. But your persistence means absolutely nothing if you are not clear on exactly what you desire. You see, willpower and desire, when properly combined, make an irresistible pair. This is persistence. When men who accumulate great fortunes are generally known as cold-blooded and sometimes ruthless, often they're misunderstood. What they have is willpower. You have willpower to persist. You have the willpower to overcome the criticism. You have the willpower to overcome your self-talk. You have the willpower to do that which you can do and desire to do as a part of your goals. I want to encourage you continuously to continue to think and grow richer with me, but I also want to encourage you to think about what is it that you desire so strongly that nothing, I mean, absolutely nothing is going to inhibit you from actually achieving that desire. Now, as we continue to share Anne's wonderful words of wisdom and these words of encouragement, I want to ask you to continue to connect with me on all the social media platforms, but also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Ann McNeil. Yes, and I will continue to keep my commitment to the commitment to come on and share. But what about you? What is it that you're committing to do? When it comes to your persistence, I want to encourage you in the three things. Have a strong desire that you are willing to persist toward. That's number one. Number two, write it down. What is it that you're persisting toward? Is it written? And then number three, persist through the criticism, especially the self-talk. Three things that you can do to achieve your goal. And until tomorrow, I want to continue to thank you for thinking and growing richer with me.